All right, good morning. Welcome everybody. Hopefully everybody's doing good on Thursday. Getting going here. I was wandering through my tabs and realized this. Hey, the stream started. The countdown is over. So good morning. Welcome. Thanks for tuning in, everybody. As the coffee crew rolls in here, thank you for watching. Thanks for the channel members that are here. Extra special welcome. If you're watching on the replay, as you know, we do go live Monday to Friday, 8 o'clock a.m. Pacific time to about 8:45. If you can join us live, it'd be great. If not, as you know, the replays are always on the channel. That's my spiel for the day. If you're just rolling in though, don't forget, if you're watching on the replay as well, don't forget to hit the like button. Hit the like button. Need more coffee, and helps out the channel, helps get it out there to like-minded investors and Canadians that might be interested in catching us live. So there we go. That's my spiel for the day. Hopefully everybody's day is going well. Made it through the hump day. Still kind of ugly out there, but we will get through it. A little bit of news to talk about today, but as always, if anybody has anything in particular that's on their mind, it's always good to see where this conversation takes us. Don't be afraid to fire it away in the comments, and we'll do our best. I'll do my best to answer it, or someone in the chat most certainly probably will be able to answer it as well. So there we go. Coffee time. Let's see who's here. Candace, good morning, channel member. Always the first. And I saw Paul. He was a little bit too slow. Candace is a tough one to beat. Tough one to beat, Paul. But good morning, Candace. Good morning, Paul. Hopefully your day is going well so far. Hopefully, Candace, your trades are working out okay. Still a bit of a ugly time out there. You be careful, I think, for what we say for people. But hopefully it's working out in your favor. If there's some opportunity, I guess that's one way to look at this, with the way the market, lots of red, what is the term, blood in the streets, maybe some opportunity. I know there's a few people yesterday talking, I was over on Blossom as well, taking it as a bit of an opportunity to add to their long-term holds and convictions. So maybe not a bad thing if you have some extra money sitting aside. But again, don't go into something, don't invest anything you can't afford to lose, especially I think now. Definitely kind of a scary time out there. Country Auto Crush, good to have you back. Good morning. Good morning, everybody. Guys, gals here too. Good to have you here. Awesome. Stan's always here. Regulars, all the regulars roll in at the same. You always roll in the same order. It's great. It's great to have people here, and I'm not just talking to myself, which is always helpful. And MC is here. Excellent. Thanks, MC, for sending that article. Really interesting article, actually, on the Toronto Life, I believe. Good read on that one. Definitely interesting. Thanks for digging that one up. On that note, MC, I watched, and you had, I think, mentioned a few days ago, there was that Frontline documentary. It's on YouTube. The Age of Easy Money. It was like a 2-hour documentary I watched last night. Now it's a bit tricky to watch. You need to watch it. It's apparently for some reason doesn't show up. You need to turn on your VPN. If you know what that is, you know what that is, and you can access it through the United States via a VPN. I guess it hasn't been released in Canada for whatever reason, but I did watch that. It was a really interesting documentary. I found it was almost kind of a little bit long, but I think they added some. I was really surprised on it because they added some, obviously really recently, because they were talking about what the heck was happening a little bit down in the States with the banks. That was kind of added to it. So I think that's maybe why the length was a little bit longer than maybe expecting, but it was a good documentary. So check that out. It'll be on YouTube. It's also on, I think, the Frontline website eventually. But if you have a VPN, you can watch it now. Good watch. Most definitely. You opened it late. You're here earlier. Maybe. No, I don't want to say I want to start early, like a market open live stream. That's a little bit early for me. I usually am up quite early. Usually up about 6ish. 5:45 or so, but sometimes I'd like to sleep in. So I don't think I definitely wouldn't want to commit to a market open live stream, especially on the West Coast. It's easier for people. There's a couple of channels I'll usually tune into sometimes that kind of do the live stream stuff in the market open that I find interesting. And but they're all back there. He's back east in Toronto, so it makes it a little bit easier for people that are in that time zone, as opposed to on the west coast here. And Zach, good morning. Always good to have you here. Always good. Hopefully you've got some more XEQT. Got your what's your limit for the week? One of my is it 10 a week? 10 a week? Can't remember. Hopefully you're able to get that going. I guess this is perfect time. Like that's the thing with people. Dollar cost average. Stick to your plan. Don't get you know. I don't want to say don't get scared. It's scary out there for sure. You look at your portfolio and all of a sudden you're down again, or down in certain things, and it can gives you that sinking feeling sometimes. But you just have to hopefully stick to your plan that you've made out, and think long term. There's lots of posts going around over on Blossom about this. Actually, there was a good one by Robin. I forget his last name, but he has a channel, and he put a good post on Blossom. So if you're on Blossom, check out Robin Haney. Check out his post because it was good. It's about kind of investing, and especially if you're newer to it, it can be hard when you see your hard-earned money going away like that. But it's sticking to the plan and not making rash decisions, right? Good morning, Sean. Good to have you here. Awesome. Hopefully your week is going well so far. It's Thursday. Tomorrow, Friday. The TGF stream tomorrow. This week went real for everything that happened. Like everything that's happened this week, it's been like a whirlwind. The week has gone really fast. That's for sure. And when you were in for a week, GVA for a week, you didn't bother adjusting time zones. So you'd wake up about an hour before market open, and it was still dark out. I think it was like 5:30. Yeah, that's kind of what I would do sometimes when traveling too. I a lot of times I wouldn't even I wouldn't adjust my watch, because you just kind of get used to your regular time, and if you're in a time zone like that, you just wake up. It just ends up you're up early, and it kind of is what it is, and you just kind of figure it out. But it can the 3 hour one's not too bad. It's when you're on the other side of the world that's the kicker. That's for sure. It's I remember traveling. I remember one time traveling. I was the farthest I've ever been away, actually, was in Taiwan. I was in Taiwan for a week and had an amazing tour of Taiwan. But the time zone, not so much when you're there. You kind of get we took off. You take off in Vancouver in the morning. It was kind of about noon or so, if I remember correctly, and then we literally arrived in Taiwan like the next day. Is it the next day or the day before? However it works out. But it's we landed and then went for dinner, but had been up for 8. It was like the next day kind of thing. It was just bizarro with your mind, and you just have to kind of roll with it. And it doesn't. And then toured around, and it hits you. The jet lag hits you when you finally get home. That's when you are exhausted, because you come back the other way. You've been a week in a different time zone that you adjusted to, and then it really hits you at home. That's the first time I'd really been hit with jet lag. That's for sure. But the 3 hour one's not as bad. All right, let's make sure. Oh, you know what I forgot today? I forgot Candace's chat GPT joke of the day. We got to get this up. I was reading this morning, Candace, and I'm thinking you make these up sometimes because they're so bad. But maple syrup guy wanted to invest in the market. He decided to hedge his bets by pouring some syrup on the computer before every trade. He said it was his way of sweetening the deal. That's horrible. Those are so bad. That's so bad, but those are good. I like those. Good way to start the day. Yeah, that's exactly kind of a good way to describe it. Flying over, you do feel kind of drunk. Yes, it was. Yeah, it was weird. I remember landing, and it was with a group of people, and we literally, before we went to the hotel, we were like out of the airport into a tour bus, and then we went straight to a restaurant for dinner. And it was like, we were eating dinner at like 6:00 Taiwan time, which was like, I don't know, 2 a.m. Vancouver time. It was whatever the time zone difference. It was bizarro. And then you do kind of feel like you're kind of drunk, and you're in completely different surroundings, and yeah, definitely weird. But it was fun. It was a good trip. It's fun to travel. If people haven't traveled, it's definitely interesting to get out and see the world. It's definitely different. That's for sure than what we have in Canada. That is for sure. Oh, there we go. So you set up reoccurring buys. That's awesome. Yeah, I don't have any reoccurring buys set up. So you do 6 on Monday, so you don't run out of room before the end of the year and can continue to dollar cost average. That's awesome. Does anybody else? I guess let me know in the comments if how do you have your Zach? I'm not sure what you use. Do you use Wealthsimple with the reoccurring buys, or is it another platform? Let me know in the comments that you use, because I know Wealthsimple obviously lets you do reoccurring buys. I haven't set it up for the. I haven't set it up on the like self-directed side, but let me know. Anybody, how does everybody, if anything that you buy weekly, kind of, do you have any kind of setup to do that, or you just kind of go in and make sure you do it? Kind of interesting. I do, Zach. I do the reoccurring purchase. Like I have my RRSP over in the Wealthsimple Invest side, and I have that come out automatically. So it does it all for me. Comes out. When do I It's Thursdays that I do my my RSP. I don't. No, sorry, Fridays. Every it's set up with my paydays. Yeah, Friday. So it works quite well. It always kind of works. Yeah. I mean, I guess the only downside you're better off use Wealthsimple too. Awesome. So you do it on the self-directed side. I mean, there's no down. I don't think there's a downside to dollar cost averaging, other than maybe there's sometimes. And I'm gonna guess if you see some opportunity for something, you can, if you have extra funds, you can put it in and do it yourself. That's the only down, kind of downside. Or if it's Monday and all of a sudden, but you're averaging your costs, so it should all work out in the wash, right? But it's better to kind of do that than not. That's the one thing about if it's not set up for automatic buys, you might get days like that are super in the red, like today, if it's something like yesterday, right? Or today, you might be apprehensive. Whereas if it's set up automatically, it just goes, you take that pressure off. I think that's a good thing. 100% GPT. Okay. You did edit down to fit to 200 characters though. You know what you can do though, Candace? You could actually put into Chat GPT, make a pun, make a terrible pun joke, but make sure it's under 200 characters, and it will do it for you. Just a little tip on that one. I use Chat GPT a lot of times to kind of help out with some of my YouTube titles, not just on this channel, but my other channel. And you can actually put into it, you can put your video to what your topic is. You put your topic in, you can make me a YouTube video title under 50 characters for this topic, and it will. And make 20 of them, and it will give you 20 different choices. So you can actually kind of do it that way. So you could get your joke with probably under 200 characters, and it will do it for you. Oh, so you do as well, but not your personal ones. Okay, MC, good call. Yeah, I don't have any set up on my individual like self-directed stuff. You can also do, I know with Wealthsimple, I think you can also do automatic, like not automatic purchases, but you can also do automatic just deposits into your account. So that's maybe one way to do it. So some people kind of probably do that as well. You can also do, I know on the cash side, I don't use the cash side of Wealthsimple, but I know they pay interest now if you do your payroll deposits on there, and I think it's a decent interest. I remember what I think MC, you mentioned it's if you have a certain level of balance, you get, I think it's 4%, but I think otherwise I think it's 1 or 2, maybe it's maybe a bit less, but there's always that. Or if it's a paycheck, I think you get more. Like if you put X amount each time, you get a bonus interest or something like that. But check that out. There's one way to kind of automate things a little bit, at least to get it into out of your and so you won't maybe spend it, but. So you budget extra 600. That's awesome if you're able to do that. Yeah, if you have some extra cash sitting in there. If you see a really bad, it's funny if you see people see these like bad days, they get excited, right? It's interesting. It's an interesting psychology, that is for sure. It's people that are investors and long-term investors, they see these bad days and they start frothing at the mouth, and But again, it's not time. It's obviously not a recommendation to put everything into anything, but it might be time to get excited if your horizon is long term, that's for sure. Yeah. That's exactly, yeah, that's exactly it. If most for most people, and it is for me too. I mean, it's helped a lot by me just doing my regular weekly, weekly Monday buy. It's my budget for the year, and it definitely takes a lot of the pressure off. It takes the motion off, and it's just systematic, and it's just like, okay, there we go, because you're not overthinking, right? Sometimes you start overthinking, and you steer yourself in the wrong direction if you are thinking too much, especially if you're, I mean, I think everybody that's probably on the stream and watching, and I know I do, you're probably guilty for possibly checking your portfolios maybe even too much sometimes. Sometimes it's best not to kind of look at the shorter term, and it's easy to lose track of that long-term outlook when you're checking it constantly. Even if sometimes you're checking stuff all day. I am guilty for it. You kind of pull up, have a tab, because you're in front of the computer all day. You have a tab going on the computer, and you're just like, oh, let's go check and see. And then you're checking when the market's closing, what's kind of happening. But I mean, I find it kind of a little bit interesting, exciting. But most people probably should step back, because it can be emotional, right? When you start to see things go, especially when they go the wrong way, is kind of what happens. Because there is, like you said, a FOMO, if you're missing out, or frugal, like you said, frugal buying, kind of the opposite. You step back, you think, oh, it's going to go down even more. You try and outthink you try and outthink everything, and you try and outthink yourself, a little bit in some ways, and that's exactly leads to like doing nothing, right? Because you're like, oh, I'm going to wait till, so it's better just to kind of stick with the plan, and stick with the plan and move forward. Yeah. Country Auto Sales sold your speakers yesterday to buy BN of Brookfield, TELUS, and TD today. There you go. Nice. That's one way to kind of look at extra ways to invest, is maybe get rid of we haven't actually talked about that a lot, about kind of getting rid of stuff that you don't need, sell some stuff on, put it on Craigslist, or have a garage sale, or Facebook Marketplace, if you can get through that. It's a good way to kind of get some extra funds for some investing, to put it aside. That's awesome, and kind of some nice ones to buy. I have those. Well, I don't have TD separately in my portfolio, but obviously in VDY I do. I do want to get more TELUS, but again, I'm just kind of sticking with my budget right now. So haven't, but that would be nice. Those are some good ones. Yeah, that makes sense. I'd have to think if I have anything that I got rid of a lot of stuff. Country Auto Garage a couple years ago, so did actually sell some stuff and donated a bunch of stuff from moving. So I actually don't have I don't know. I could probably find something that I could sell to. I should try and dig something up as a challenge, and try and find something that I can sell to invest. This is kind of a fun challenge. I don't know. Let me know if anybody else is there anything in the comments that people want to get rid of? What would you sell to buy your favorite investment ETF or stock? That's kind of interesting. I think the only thing of much value that I have, but I don't want to get rid of it, is my cameras. But that's probably the one thing I could probably get rid of something. And yeah, you're lucky there, Zach. Only I wish I knew what I knew now. You kind of know. I mean, I was investing when I was 23, but there wasn't the same when I was 23. I mean, God, that's half my life ago. Now, as I make myself sound old, there wasn't the same ease of investing, that's for sure, for better or worse. I had my RSP, I had my company, fortunate enough to have a company pension at the time, which was awesome, which I still have. That's all locked away, I can't touch, which is probably a good thing. But when you're 23, I think you're on the right. Hopefully, I think you're on the right track. Because when I was in 23, you probably the amount of money I think I spent at the pub after work, most times on weekends, I could have probably been retired by now. Maybe not quite, but that's how I think now. Like it's kind of shifted. Like now I think, okay, I don't buy X because I can put it into something else, and it's amazing how quickly your investments will build with that kind of mindset, right? skip skip the dinner out, and put the $50, or now $100 if you're buying drinks. Put the $100 into don't spend $100 on something like that, and put it in XEQT, right? It's about $25 ish. Put that $100 in that as well, and then when you're 23, so by the time you're 55, you'll be in a great position if you can kind of hang on to it. If you're not buying, yeah, that makes sense. If you're not, that's a good kind of mantra to live by. I mean, I'm guilty for looking, because I'm doing this. You do this live stream, so we're kind of looking to see what the heck is happening, and but guilty for it. But if that's a good tip for people. If you're not making any buys or sells, there's no reason to log in and look. So it kind of relates. I did that little video on my channel, MC, with like investing should be boring, and you know what? That's a good. That could be kind of. That could almost be a little video in itself. Is if you're not doing anything with your portfolio, don't look at your portfolio. That's good. But I think everybody's guilty, like you are. You check yours too often. It's It's because, I mean, it's so accessible on our phones, right? It's just you swipe up it, and it's like anything that's it's kind of an addictive habit, bad habit. Much like if you're going onto your phone all the time and looking at Facebook, or looking at whatever TikTok, or whatever social media stuff. It's kind of a bad habit to check into and waste time on. You'd be better off trying to earn some money than look at what's happening. So there's a documentary on minimalism. I don't know if I ever watched that. Let me just quickly check. As we say, it's bad to check on your phones, but I will quickly look on Netflix if it's up there, MC. And if it is, I'm going to add that to my watch list. They have like a minimalist. Yeah, it looks like some different ones. Okay, I'll try and track that one down. Getting rid of, yeah, there's something to be said about getting rid of a lot of stuff, though. I think if people came in and saw, I mean, I'll eventually get a behind the scenes maybe here, but again, there's not much to see in my office. I mean, the walls are completely blank. I have nothing hanging on the walls. I have a light for my live stream, and I have my desk and my computer, and that is literally all I have in my office. I have a tripod for my camera, my microphone, and that's it. It's pretty minimal in here, that is for sure. But it's nice. It's easy. It's clean. It doesn't get messy. Doesn't get full of stuff. There's not even anything hanging on any of the walls anywhere. I have stuff to hang up on the walls that I've saved, like pictures and stuff, but I just haven't put them up. It's just kind of nice to have everything clean and sorted, and I don't have a ton of furniture everywhere, so kind of is nice. Getting rid of a lot of stuff. I remember a couple years ago when I was moving, because a lot of times this is what's crazy. It's sometimes cheaper to buy new stuff than pack it, have it moved, especially if you're moving a long distance, but I was. So it was kind of like, it just made more sense to get rid of a lot of stuff and donate a lot of stuff to charities and stuff, because they'll come and get it, housewares and all that kind of stuff, and donated a whole bunch of stuff. And it was kind of at the same time, it was kind of like, it's kind of freeing that you don't have all these things to weight you down. It's kind of a good feeling. Maybe not for everybody, but it works for me, which is kind of nice. Candace, yeah, I do have a green screen, but I just haven't put it up. I kept it. I used to use a green screen when I had my office kind of turned a different way. But what I found is, and it's not a bad thing to have, is just I have a window on one side. The blinds come down, but what happens is it's too bright, which is a bad. I mean, it's a bad, not a bad thing to have some light and get nice light when you're working during the day. But when you're filming, it's not the greatest to have sunlight, tons of sunlight coming in. There's obviously blinds, but they don't do quite a good enough job. So I just, when I move things around, it just didn't quite work with the green screen. So, well, let's keep it white, keep it simple. Kind of goes with, you know, I just keep things simple. So it seems to work. Yeah, yeah. Okay. I mean, I'm really gonna check that out. I'll find it. It's got to be streaming somewhere online. Maybe it's on Prime or something like that. But, and that's the thing. It's not about having nothing. Like I don't have nothing. I wouldn't say that. Talking about minimalism, but it's having things that are definitely that are meaningful. Uh, that's what I got. I got rid of a lot of stuff that was not meaningful. And it's just kind of like, do I use this anymore? Do I need this? And it's like, no. So, I mean, I saved, you know, photographs and all that kind of stuff, but you know, there's, lots of things that kind of you start to gather. And especially if you're the last, before I moved, we were in a place for probably about, was in a place for about 15 years or so. So if you're in a place for 15 years, and this is what I always find, if you have a certain amount of space, you always seem to fill it, irregardless. And it's like 15 years of something. And there was stuff in the garage that I had moved there with that were still in boxes. And I'm like, whoa, what is this even? Why do I even have this in storage under the stairs? It's like, I haven't used it in 15 years. I'm pretty sure I don't need it. It's yeah, so it's like got rid of a lot of stuff. Donated a ton of stuff. Donated some furniture. Donated some of the like kitchen stuff, cutlery, glasses, coffee. You know, I use the same coffee mug every day. Why do I need 20 coffee mugs kind of thing? So it was getting rid of stuff like that. So that was it. I'll have to check out. There must be a library near me, a little library. Streaming server is called Canopy or Hoopla. Oh, I'm gonna check that out. I never heard of that. Good way to save some money too is go to the library. I haven't been to the library in a long time. Long time. There we go. And Naylor, welcome. Thanks for tuning in. Good question. Going to go shopping. I first I read that because we're talking about stuff. I thought you're going to the mall, but no, you're buying favorite ETFs covering Canada and the U.S. I mean, obviously, my favorite isn't, and everybody else tune in. I know VFE that's one of my for S&P Vanguard. Same with VDY. That's kind of covers US. But if anybody else has any other ones that are good entry ETFs, let us know. Put it in the comments. There's definitely, that's the hard part. There's a gazillion ETFs, and it's hard to choose a lot of the other ones. And there's from MC. So there's a list, Naylor, for you to copy out, write those down, and go take a look. VCN, XIC for US, and VFE for unhedged, VSP or XSP for hedged to Canadian. And there we go. Another place to look, not to direct people off my channel and around, but you can actually search, and it's kind of handy because it's Canadians, is take a look on Blossom, because you can actually search. I think you can actually see like the percentages that other people own. So it's kind of like sometimes when you're kind of unsure, sometimes it's kind of good to go with the consensus of people, and you can actually see what are the most popular. Another way to look too, as well as you can look on as a starting point, is go onto on the Wealthsimple, and you can actually see the top 100. And it will show you kind of the top. It's a good way to kind of start you in that right direction to kind of then decide exactly what you want to do. And look at the top 100. You'll see what the top 100 investments are in terms of ETFs, and that's kind of a good starting point as well to kind of give you some ideas. And Zach, I knew you would. I was going to wait. I was going to say XEQT, and I was going to wait for you to say it though. XEQT, XGROW, and XBAL. There you go. 3 more. So no shortage of No shortage of choices there, Naylor. Hopefully that helps. Hopefully that helps you out. And thanks everybody. That's always good when helps out the community with giving some suggestions to start off your search or continue your search in more of the right direction. And exactly, not financial advice. Depends on your risk profile. The usual disclaimer: do your own. It sounds so terrible. We have to always kind of say this, but don't buy what I'm buying in my TFSA unless you research it and want to buy it, and don't follow along what I necessarily do or anybody else. Use it as a good starting point. That's kind of the best suggestion I have. And we've got some. Oh, it's got some new. Okay, poll. Oh, so they are giving. I was reading a little bit like that. They were trying to give, possibly do that. I think it's the F. I forget what it was, but Poland's giving Ukraine 4 fighter jets. That must have just came out in the news. I will have to look at that. Kind of interesting. Yeah, lots going on there too. Lots happening in the world right now. It's not a happy place, that's for sure. But yeah. Let me just pull up though as well. We have that. We have the 1 second here. The coffee. So it is breaking news. I'll have to pull it up after and read this. It's back to. Let me just share my screen here for Naylor. I'm not sure if you're buying these ETFs for your RSP or not, but we had some other US ones on our, if this shows up, hold on. Yeah, there we go. We did have some other US RSPs. So, but there's also some, like, you might want to check out some of the BMO ETFs. These ones are US for BMO All Equity ETF, ZEQT. I think, was ZEQT, XEQT was mentioned, so ZEQT would be similar. There's also a Canadian dividend one, ZDV as well. And I think you mentioned VEQT, maybe not. That's the thing. There's so many choices. If Naylor, if you want to see, I know sometimes this is hard to see on the screen, but if you want me to send you, I have to figure a way again to share this. But if you want to see something, I'm not sure if this is in your RSP, but it's I can send you a screenshot of this if you want. Just shoot me an email over, and you can find my email on the about page, and I'm happy to send you a screenshot of that so you can see it as well to kind of send you in the right direction. Anyways, hope you help. And no, we actually didn't mention it. That was on my list, MC, to talk about. ECB, obviously, ECB. I don't know how we missed that. That should have been the first thing we talked about, but I think we talked about getting rid of furniture. It's the European Central Bank. Yeah, they did raise rates 50 basis points today. I was kind of surprised by that, but not surprised, because of yesterday happening with Credit Suisse. What are the central bank there is going to, well, we can call it. They'll call it not a bailout, but call it what it is. 50. I think it worked out to what, close to $54 billion yesterday, and that was kind of late in the day last night, and but then turn around today, and ECB is raising rates. So we'll see what happens. That's the big thing. Yeah, 50 basis points, and the big one next week. Yeah, is the 22nd would be the Fed. That's going to be really interesting. From what I've been seeing, I think they're going to. Well, we talked about it yesterday a little bit. The market's kind of pricing that they are. It's on the fence with what's really going to happen. I haven't looked today. This was yesterday, so anything could like. This is the way what the heck is happening. Is anything can completely change, and just depending what the heck happens. But I think it's kind of on the fence next week. On what they'll probably try. Yeah, I guess they'll probably try to raise them a little bit, but it's hard to really know. I don't know. Let me know your thoughts and what you think. I think we talked about yesterday, and it's kind of like. Part of me says they'll probably do it now, but part of me says they might not. It's really hard to kind of decide and figure out what. It's hard to predict it's next week, and it's like it's hard. Now you're thinking it's hard to predict because it's so unpredictable out there. But yeah, I think they're gonna probably try, right? Like this is the thing. I think they're gonna push it. and with the same, despite the bailout, unless something more happens, right? We might see more kind of whatever breakage, right, with certain things. I know some of the banks in the States are still not doing well. What was the one today? What's it called? First Republic Bank is not doing good as well. It's really hard to know, but they can always. I mean, this is the thing. They might try. They might try, and then they can always walk. They'll try, and if they have, they'll eventually have to just walk them back, right? So, but at least they can kind of say they try. Although if you look at what's happening is, I mean, what's oil doing today? It's kind of come back up again today. But if you look at oil, like oil yesterday was down. And then the PPI was yesterday, and it was kind of overshadowed by everything else, right? And the PPI was down quite a bit from what they were predicting, which is kind of a indicator of what to come with CPI, and so I think we might start to see inflation hopefully come down. I think that's probably going to drop. It'll probably at one point it'll drop substantially a month, and we'll be like, oh. So, but really hard to know what the heck is gonna happen. There you go. Thanks everybody. Awesome. Glad it works. And employment and price stability is more related to inflation than bailouts, in my opinion. Yes, I agree. But unless stuff starts to break, it starts to break. So this must have happened too. So First Republic is getting an injection of cash from larger banks, which caused the financials and the SPY to rip. Oh, okay. Yeah. Oh, it is actually. I'm just looking at that. We're not chart watchers here, but I'm just looked over in the corner of my eye, and it actually is quite. There we go. It's up. What's and Bitcoin, everything. Yeah, it's like everything's up. This is what's so hard. It's like you wake up in the morning and you're like, oh, it's all gonna crash and burn, and everything's ending and the world is ending, and then you wait half an hour, 45 minutes, and then you turn around and you go, oh. It's going to be a great day. This emotion is just when you're looking at stuff. At least again, it comes back to the conversation of looking at your portfolio too much. This is what causes it. All these things. So like literally news 8 like as we're going on. It's 8 o'clock, 11 o'clock. I said 8 o'clock my time, 11 o'clock Eastern. And yeah, the PPI was phenomenal, but I don't think there was. I don't think there was much talk of it. That's for sure. So I think we're going to definitely see the next couple months. We'll start to see inflation come down for sure. And it was like the PPI was kind of overshadowed by all the other mess that was in the news. That's for sure. And Matthew, welcome. That's awesome. Thanks for tuning in from Alberta. I lived there for a little bit. I've lived there a couple times in Calgary. That's awesome. Welcome. Thanks for tuning in. It's always good. I guess on that note, if you're watching and haven't hit the like button, hit the like button. It's always nice. Helps out the channel and helps us find new viewers like Matthew. So welcome to the channel, Matthew. If you do have any questions, fire them away. It's a good group of Canadians here, and we'll hopefully steer you in the right direction, or can help you out if you need help, or if you have suggestions. Don't be afraid. It's awesome. XEQT. I see everybody talking about XEQT. It makes I'm getting so bought in with a bit more XEQT yesterday, sitting on around 20% cash still, 20% cash to work. A bit on Monday and a bit yesterday. There we go. I'm getting like FOMO of XEQT. Everybody talking about. Although I should probably get some. Like outside of North America. Exposure in my TFSA. I don't have any, but of course the XEQT that would double up a little bit with America and Canada, but it might give me a bit of might be kind of a nice one to get to. The more I kind of look into it, the more I come like, okay, this kind of does make sense. That might be something to kind of look at adding to my portfolio. XEQT yesterday and VEQT on Monday. What's the difference on the two? One doesn't have, hold on, VEQT. Let me just see here. I know I've looked into these, started looking into these a little bit. Vanguard All Equity. Execute yesterday. And so it's Vanguard All Equity, VEQT. Where does it cover? Sorry, I'm just looking. Some of their websites are confusing. Where is the U.S. total? Sorry, close. Pop-ups. Developed, emerging markets, Canada, and U.S. total market ETF. Okay, so it's smaller percentage. And welcome, Matthew. I'm just looking if there's much difference between VEQT. Does it have more? I think it has more U.S. total market. Does it not? If I'm looking at that correctly, yeah. And yeah, that's okay. That's what I was trying to. That's what I was trying to spit out as I'm trying to read and talk at the same time. So XEQT has a slightly higher U.S. exposure. VEQT has slightly more Canadian exposure. VEQT has a higher management with yearly distribution. Okay, interesting. Okay, good to know. So slightly higher U.S. exposure than VEQT for Canadian. I should look because I do need some international exposure on my portfolio. It's for I think the long term, but it's I'd have to kind of adjust the into the S&P down, because I just do a fractional purchase of that one as well. I'll have to look at that. It always gets me thinking. Can't go wrong with like a lot of times the consensus, right? So yeah, as Zach says, like join the dark side. The one kind of I mean, the price is kind of work is good. You can fractional purchase it as well, which is kind of nice. I look into it. It's been kind of on my radar for a little bit. And sorry, lots of comments coming through here. I got to catch up. And it's interesting to read why some people prefer one over the other. It says a lot. Consumer behavior, since they're both, they look like. I'll have to really dig into it, like on two tabs to go back and forth if you really want to dig into the whole holdings and stuff. Just kind of look at the percentages, because if they're indexes, they're going to essentially hold the same thing. It's just looking at the percentages stuff. And most of the S&P is international. Yeah, a lot. Yeah, of course they are. A lot of them are covered by that. Yeah. Missed the sale on CP and the banks too. Yeah. There's no fear. Don't fear of missing out either, Vic. And Vic is down 16 on VSP, down and 9 on VFV. I'm doing okay on those. I'm actually not too bad on VFV. Just it's kind of comes from just dollar cost averaging it, I guess. So home bias, lower fee, more frequent distributions. That's one thing, I guess. If the distributions on VEQT are annual, I know some people. Obviously if it's a long-term hold, that shouldn't matter, but it's kind of nice to kind of, get the quarterly dividends in, just because it kind of, if anything, it just kind of gives you it almost gives your morale a little bit of a boost. You see stuff come through. It's that little, like, it's like a dopamine, you kind of see it come through. It gets you a bit excited. You're like, okay, it's making money. Whereas if you're waiting to the end of the year, you're like, it's going to be it's all going to work out, essentially the same at the end. You're going to get a big one at the end of the year, but it's almost like you have to hang on to it so if there's any kind of, for some reason, thinking to sell, having to possibly have to sell something, then you're going to lose out on that, right? But it's those little, it's the little boost as you get those the quarterly distribution is definitely, I feel, boost. It's funny on that note, like I did that, I went back and looked at all my dividends from 2022 and filmed it. There's a video up on the channel and kind of looking at it and comparing it, and it's nice to kind of see the snowball building a little bit with some of the distributions and coming through from everything. So that's the issue is not timing. Sometimes it's the opportunity and not having the cash on the side. Always, there's never enough cash. There's never enough money. Never enough money. So some buy VEQT because there's a brand loyalty to Vanguard, even with a higher management fee. Some buy XEQT because they're more bullish on the US. All kinds of reasons. Interesting from a consumer behavior point of view. Yeah. Vanguard's the big one, right? It's just kind of like, okay, Vanguard can't go wrong. Put it in here. But, and there, yeah, I mean, that's the thing. You could get both. There's not, there's probably nothing wrong with having both if you're unsure, maybe splitting it up 50-50 or something like that, I guess. Yeah. And that's for Ian. Yeah, bigger. And your financial coach advisor in a mutual fund that over 20 years is 6% return on average, but I do my own thing on the side. Okay, yeah, that's okay. I mean, there's nothing wrong with 6%. If it's been churning around and keeping you, keeping that return steady like that, that's probably nothing. Sometimes there's nothing wrong with that. And if your advisor is doing, if you, like you said, for 20 years and you're averaging it out and it's not causing any panic, it's probably not a bad, not too shabby. And almost doubled from January income to February. Oh, you're meaning, sorry, from 2022 January to January 23. Yeah, I was looking at that as well. I didn't do a comparison yet, but yeah. So my January 22 dividends were, January 22 was 20. I have it pulled up here. 20. I can pull it. I can share this. My January, probably won't be able to read this, but my January 22 were $23.23, which is awesome. That's great. And then in 2023, my dividends were $64.29. So there we go. Yeah. February was $38.61, where in 2022 they were $13.16. So it's definitely building, which is awesome. And it was Jordan that left a good comment. He had mentioned kind of like, because I kind of said it's starting to snowball, which it is. And then he had left a comment. Jordan left a comment saying, wait till you see the avalanche in terms of a good way, not a bad avalanche. It's definitely growing. Yeah, for sure, which is nice. Yeah. And yeah, that's what I knew. I know I do have to get out of a different, and there was an article I read on that, like it's a home bias, right? Like North Americans will invest mainly in North American, we talked about it here a little bit, North American stock. So I think it'd be a good idea to get some of the outside of that. So yeah, that it's probably going to go in that direction. As Zach said, join the dark side, but there must be an there must be a separate ETF that covers just emerging and international markets. Like, is there an XEQT version of that ETF? Like, well, obviously not called XEQT, but is there a version of that just has the takes out the North America? There must be. That might be something to look at. That's if I keep investing in BFE, which, I mean, but There has to be. I have to dig it upset. And so Candace loves the 1 year. Yeah, because it's massive, right? You get that massive bump at the end of the year. Um, it's yeah, it's nice to get those. You see them come through at the beginning of the year, and you're like, oh, that's nice. That's nice. Pays off to hold. Probably a good way to make you not cash out too, right? Because you kind of know you know your you know that you're going to be getting something at the end of the year. And is Michael Burry tweeting? Bank issue sorted out S&P bottoms. Oh, okay, as soon as they sort it out, that's the bottom. We'll have to see. I follow him on Twitter, so we'll have to see what he's posting. He likes to delete tweets too. Anyone? I don't think I watch Ben Felix. He's the best after. There we go. Yeah, good fix there. Good save. Good save. Good save. Yeah. Good save. He's a pro, but provides evidence quote studies, for example, hedge or not for Canadians. Okay, I'll have to check him out. Let me just let me get him on there. I always have so much to research and look at after these Ben Felix subscribed. Okay, done. Always have so much to research after these live streams. It keeps me busy after we go. So there we go. And as we do look at the time, it is coming up to, well, we've passed the 8:45. It's always good. These conversations are good. I always learn something. Hopefully everybody that's watching and the first time viewers that are watching, hopefully you guys and girls looked and joined and learned something as well. These are always fun. Tomorrow coming up, obviously there is going to be a live stream, so we'll get that scheduled. So for the new viewers, you can go in and if you're not subscribed, you can go subscribe, hit that notification. You'll get notified of new videos, and that's all we got. Yeah, I have one more thing for me to watch here. Steve Eisman was on. Okay, from Big Short. I'm gonna have to check out CNBC as well. I've got my watching and reading. I've got my watching and reading to keep me busy tonight. I got to find that minimalism documentary, and I'll check out some CNBC interviews if I'm able to find that. Or if you have it on your history, again, MC, it's always appreciated if you send me the link, because it saves me some Google time and search. I always appreciate though. But and as everybody else, always appreciate joining in. Thanks again to everybody the coffee crew that joins us live. Starts my morning off right, even on good days and bad days. It's always good to see how the community is doing. Again, a special thanks as well for the channel members that are here. Candace, I saw you pop up. I think that's all we had today. I know Nadia, I think Nadia is not feeling well, but she'll be back next week, another channel member. But always appreciated, obviously, anybody, not just the members, but anybody watching the channel. Helps out the channel, and if you haven't given it a like on your way out, give it a thumbs up. Helps get it out there, and maybe we'll get a few new people on the next one. It's always good to have new people join the community and chat about financing and investing and all that kind of good stuff. And have a good rest of the day. We'll leave it at Candace's comment. Have a good rest of the day, everybody, and we'll see you tomorrow. Really appreciate it.